Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience. So we can kick off because of time. Thank you for joining another webinar. So very quickly, my name is Chidera. I am the marketing manager at Vendercredit. I would allow my colleague properly introduce our guest, but I just want to say thank you, Mr. Kayode, for always, you know, wanting to be part of the family and for your contribution and always making yourself available for us to draw from your wealth of knowledge. We are really grateful for that. Just very quickly, this is our second webinar. I don't know if you guys noticed. We're playing a clip from our first webinar, the one that we had with Konga, where we're addressing how e-commerce merchants can position themselves better for more sales and engagements on any e-commerce platform. You can watch the full recording on our YouTube channel. Before I hand over to our experts, I just want to say that if you've noticed, also you are unable to turn on your mics or your cameras. It's intentional, so we want the video to record smoothly. Um, we just beg your indulgence on that front. But if you have further questions, you can drop it in the Q&A, or you can send them to us directly at hello@vendorcredit.ng. Or you can choose to follow us on all our social media platforms at Vendor Credits, and you leave comments on there, and we would be happy to respond. Okay, so without further ado, I would be handing over to our experts, my colleague Victoria Chukuno, our Senior Growth Executive at Vendercredit, and Mr. Kayode Sowade, Supply Chain and Operations Management Expert. Over to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Chidera, thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. And I remain my humble self, Chukuno Victoria, Growth Executive Vendercredit. And I'm privileged to have with me here on this webinar a man whose greatness precedes him. He needs no introduction or biography to define his impact. He's no other person other than Mr. Kayode Sowade. Mr. Kayode is the CEO of Value for Naira Nigeria and equally a supply chain expert. So Mr. Kayode is a growth-oriented supply chain and operations manager expert with over 20 years in different sectors. Between 2007 and 2012, he rose to become the physical distribution and customer service operations manager of Procter & Gamble in West Africa. On a personal end, he currently works as a supply chain business consultant on distribution strategy and network benchmarking, procurement analysis, and inventory optimization for businesses across West Africa. He also has several certifications from several trainings and experiences. Also, he has a master's in business administration from Lagos Business School. Mr. Kayode, I would really say your profile and your accomplishments really precedes you. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Victoria. Hello, everyone. I'm privileged to be here, and I'm really honored. I think we should dig in because we wasted a lot of time.
Okay, Mr. Kayode. Over to our topic for today. So today we'll be discussing suppliers leveraging, being able to leverage corporate needs. So, sir, what are the ABC of supplying to corporates, or what does a supplier need to know when it comes to supplying to corporates?
Thank you very much, Victoria. Of course, there are a lot of things a supplier needs to know and learn when it comes to placing himself strategically with corporates and making sure he's always at the top of mind when the corporate folks need things. I will just run through maybe 4 or 5 categories Because of time, I'll give a very short explanation of each one. And this is me leveraging the experience when I was at the other side, as the supply chain director, what I'm looking for in vendors. And also now that I own a company and I run the company and I'm also a supplier. So first of all, the first thing that a vendor, a supplier must know is he must understand the need of the company he's targeting. Now you can have two companies producing about the same thing, let's say detergent, but will have two different needs entirely. So you need to understand the need of that company. And in understanding the needs of that company, you need to understand their business. How do they do their business? What do they rank as being a priority for them? Are they big on optimization? They really want to make profit. Are they big on brands? They want to keep their brands. They are very keen on quality. So a vendor needs to understand this and needs to prioritize it on a scale, on top of his mind to say, okay, as far as company A is concerned, this is what they prioritize and this is the need of their business. You also need to understand their procurement process. And by understanding the procurement process, you need to understand how do they run, what does their tender look like, what is the time frame in terms of their tender. You need to understand their payment process. You need to know how they receive products. You need to know the touch points because most corporates and multinationals, they have what they call a matrix touch point. So you are going to supply, but you are not going to talk to just one department. On one hand, they are talking to the supply chain department or the consumers of the product. On the other hand, they are talking to the quality guy who is going to certify that your product is good for use. On another hand, they are talking to the finance guys who gives you the conditions. And so you need to understand, their procurement process. This gives you this gives you an advantage on how to bid and how to quote. Again, you need to tailor your offering towards. So when you look at the first one, understand their business, and then you understand their procurement processes, you'll be able to tailor your offerings to their needs, their targeted needs. And that's one. I know there's no time. Then you need to build relationship and trust. So that's bucket B. So first of all, you understand the process, you are skilled, your quality is your product is going to be top notch when you deliver. You understand the problem. Then you need to build a relationship. You need to establish a connection with the key people, in the company. This is not bribery. This is just you being fluid with the company, understanding their needs, understanding the dynamics. Because 20% of the information they will pass to you by mails and official communication. The remaining 80% you get off chatting with them, talking to them to really understand what their need is and ascertain that the person you are talking to, what he is communicating as their need is really their need. Because at times there's a mismatch. You understand? So in talking to them, in talking to the stakeholders, trying to understand their needs, you need to demonstrate your expertise. At some point, they will get to a crossroad that they themselves will not understand what they need to do. They will love to call you. When corporates are calling you for advice once or twice, you could be rest assured that when the bidding process comes on anything, you are ranked well above the rest because they already respect your expertise. So, and in doing this too, of course, that's communication. So right now, I've talked about aligning with their needs. I've talked about building relationships and trust. Of course, you need to comply with their requirements. As far as corporates are concerned, there are no shortcuts. They give you a standard, you need to keep the standard. If you are trying to go through shortcuts, they are going to blacklist you. So for you to even have a hedge, even if your costing is a bit more, your compliance has to be 100%. So you need to meet their quality, you need to meet their safety. These are processes of complying to their requirements. You need to adhere to their procurement policies. When they say you do it in a red file, mark it this way, you need to do all those. And then you need to provide necessary documentation. Most of these corporates, they have head offices outside our physical location in Africa, in Nigeria. So at times they need to pass documentations to their sister companies, to their bigger companies to ascertain that what they are doing is of the right thing. You understand? Then you need to deliver exceptional services. In delivering exceptional services, it goes beyond the product. Yes, your product has good quality, it meets the standard, but are you bringing them in on time? If you're offering services, are you delivering as per deadlines? So this has to happen. You also need to give them quality customer support and quality customer services, and this is where you have good product, you are bringing it on time and delivering it on time, be it product or services, and then you have a way of giving them customer support. When they run into issues, you're always there. Then you also need to go far above and beyond. If possible, give continuous improvement. Today, you are delivering nails to them, let's say at 10 naira. I'm just throwing numbers. But you found a way to improve on your quality, on your process, and you come back to them and say you can do it at 9.99 next year. They will jump at you because somehow you are bringing innovation to their desk. The innovation which comes in form of cost reduction or better quality. So you also need to ensure your ethical business practices. They are very big on, we don't take bribes, we don't give bribes, we don't do monopoly, we don't cut corners. You need to check the boxes for all this. I'm rushing because I know you have so many questions, okay? And then when you work with them, have it in mind that you are working with them for a long term. You just don't want to come in, cash in, and then within 6 months, they realize the price you are giving them are off in terms of market price, and then they cut you and go for another person. Always make sure, yes, you are in to make the money, to make the profit, but always make sure that what the prices you are giving them, the quality and services you are giving them is such that if other prices and conditions are brought from the market, you can always protect your numbers. Okay, I'll just stop at this. I think I've talked about 4 or 5 areas where if you want to really be top mind with vendors and corporates, with corporate companies, you need to make sure you are good on all those fronts. Thank you, Victoria.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. That was really quite insightful, I must say. Okay, so but what about for the corporates? What do they look out for when they are listing suppliers or vendor?
Okay, when they are listing suppliers or vendors, well, I will give you, like I'll put them in categories and then I'll just try to explain bullet points. So first of all, they are looking at vendors that have a history of compliance and meet their regulatory requirements. They're very big on that. If a corporate says we don't encourage child labor, for instance, you cannot have a vendor who has an industry or a lab that employs below 18. Not one, not even as a sweeper, not even as a gate man, not even as a tea maker. So you need to be sure that in terms of compliance, in terms of regulatory requirements, you are meeting all their needs. What business registration licenses, you need to ensure that you cross all the T's and you dot all the I's, all the certificates you are supposed to get, all the ISO standards that you are supposed to get, you need to make sure that you have them. Tax compliance, very big on it, because if you default in any way, when the law comes, they pay the price. So they will want to be sure that when it comes to tax compliance, you are good. Of course, I've talked about the industry certifications. You need to have all the certifications that you need to work in that industry. So that's about compliance and regulatory requirements. Now, you also need to look at your they look at financial stability. This vendor, is it financially stable? Is it credit worthy? No, there are two sides of the coin. So if I give you an order for a huge amount, would you be able to source for the money? Would you be able to make these orders and deliver on time? Do you have support like vendor credits? for instance? Do you have support? Do you have credit houses where you have good stands and these people can finance whatever deal they're bringing to you? On the second side of the coin, if they throw you a credit link, maybe they give you credit ahead or they pay you upfront, are they sure that you will deliver and you'll not abscond with their money? So for me, these are the two basic things they look at. They look at your compliance level in the three ways: business registration, tax and finance compliance, and also the industry certification. And then they look at your financial stability and ability to pull credit or money to do this job which they are giving you. Because most companies will not pay you upfront. They'll give you the job, you'll deliver the job, and then they'll take some days or months to also pay you. So I hope I've been able to throw some light on your question.
Yes, you have. You really did justice to that. But we hear some businesses or suppliers or vendors saying that um they really get listed. They are doing well in their business, but they really get listed by by corporates. So what do you
Yeah.
think these businesses might be doing wrong?
Well, when a business tells you he's doing well, but he doesn't get called up for business by the big fish and co. The business feels is doing well as per his own perception, not from the eyes of the big companies. When the big companies and the corporate, when they are looking at businesses to identify if they are doing well, they look at a couple of things. And any business that is today not getting called up as often as he would wish should look at those things. Like I'll take the first, like I say, your compliance level, registration and certification. You might be the best in your craft. You might be gifted in your craft. If you are not properly registered, if you don't have the right ISO certifications, if you don't have the right financial certifications, then you will not get called up. That's number one. Number two, most times when the procurement departments in these big companies, when they are scouting for vendors to use, really, most times they go online and they do their research. So how big are you online? Do you even have a presence online? If you don't have a presence online, then nobody announces you to this corporate. So you feel you are doing well, but nobody knows you. So one big thing is that they need to get big online. They need to have a presence online. They need to create activities that will make them noticeable online. Number three, what about their marketing and branding? I mean, if I've seen if okay, how will I put it? If I want to make a road, let's say I'm a big company, I'm government, and I want to make a road. And of course, I've always gone around, and each time I go, there's this company A that whenever I move on its road, is like I'm moving on nylon, very good, frictionless. And there's this other company that whenever I move on it, I mean, it's rubbish. I already have a perception. So it's going to be hard for that second company to win a bid or a quote with me, So, and that's what I call poor branding. It might not be their issue. Maybe the funding or the financing, it's not up to. But you need to have a good branding and a good marketing for you to be called up by the corporate guys. If not, really, they don't really have so much time in that. They are researching online. They want to do a job where they need just 4 or 5 people to quote. They already have 50 names. So what stands you out? Any mistake, you're off the list. Then what about your documentation? When you submit proposals, when you submit requests, of interest, is your documentation complete? Is it as per standard that they will understand? There are guidelines for filling these documentations. If there are mistakes there or they are not complete, I tell you, they don't have the time to start calling you back to correct it. It just goes. So, and then they have requirements. Even the corporate guys, when they put up a request for quotes, or tender, they have their requirements. You need to follow their requirements. Don't do what we call like to know and say, no, it's not like that. This is how it should be. They have their requirements. Give them what they want as they want it. And last but not the least, of course, your pricing might not be competitive. So you might be the best, you might be very good at what you do, good quality, but if the pricing is bad, they will never call you, because all these companies are there to make money. So they will want to protect their top line and also their bottom line. And then that's it. So this is I think I've been able to give you some points.
Okay, Mr. Kayode, thank you.
Yeah.
So for any business or any vendor that is on call and have this big question, of course, you need to work on your certification, your
Yeah.
online presence. You need to be big on that. Your branding and
Yes.
marketing, top notch.
Yes.
Documentation, perfect. Your requirements and your pricing. So
Yes.
once all
And,
this is in
and,
place,
and
then okay.
when you bid for businesses, or you bid for jobs and you don't get it, I think it's equally good that you go back to that company and you ask for feedback. What have I done wrong? What did you expect me to do that I didn't do? In some places, they'll tell you, yeah, you did everything right, but we just needed to choose one person, and then we just decided to go with the other person. Fine. But in some places, they'll tell you, you did this wrong, you did. See it as feedback, take it, and plow it back into your growth strategy, and then you develop. Well, two things you've done. You've been able to go back to demonstrate that, look, you are ready to learn, and then you are flexible and you're agile. And then the second thing, you've created a network. You've met someone, you probably keep the person's card or the person's number, and then next time you are not a visitor to that company. So feedback seeking is really very important.
Okay, on this feedback you just said now, I think that's also a way for you to, build relationship, just as you've earlier mentioned, as one of the key things when it comes to supplying for corporates.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for that one. And there's this popular adage that says experience is the best teacher. Yeah, right? So
Yes.
could you share like some success story of vendors and also highlight for us like the step they took to get to where they are at the moment?
Okay. So I'll tell you, while I was the supply chain director for one of the companies, FMCGs. I wouldn't want to mention the name, and I wouldn't want to mention the name of the supplier in question. But this supplier had come to my office to seek for jobs. I think he had come like 7 times. Different proposals, different bids. Each time he was rejected. When it comes usually as a single person, one man. No effects, no nothing. He just comes in with a jeans and a pair of top, and he drops. I, being an operation guy person, I know this guy is good. I know he knows what he does, but he has no branding. He doesn't have time for branding and marketing, and he never did brand. He just believed my work is good enough. But hey, the procurement team were not ready. I mean, they can't possibly look at everybody and look at 200 suppliers. They just look at what you put down and then they make a decision. But one day he came with an offer we couldn't refuse. He sent us, he wasn't, we were looking for a company. We ran close to 100 generators pan Nigeria, and we're looking for a company that can help us maintain the generators. And then he came with a proposal. But at the head of the proposal, he wrote 20% guaranteed cost reduction. 20% guaranteed cost reduction. The way we pick companies or suppliers who would bid is that we get 4 or 5 people to sit blindly. Blindly means they are not interacting with each other, and they look at the heap of proposals and then they write down the names. And you can imagine these 5 people sitting at different times, not interacting together, put this guy's company as number one each. This is the guy that's bidded for 7 times, 8 times, and never got anything. Cut the long story short, we gave him the job, he performed. But what am I trying to say? He came with a better marketing this time around. The topic of his proposal actually got everybody. We were looking for cost saving. It was a time when, the bottom line was very, very red. So you come to me and you say, you give me 20% back. I'm even ready to work with you to achieve that 20%. So it's a success story. to summarize, of someone who was very good, but who did not brand himself well, who finally, knowingly or unknowingly, branded himself well and got a job. And then from there, I mean, he used us as referrals to so many other companies. And today he's a P. I mean, if you call him today, his PA picks his phone. That's to show you how big he is.
Okay, sir. That was quite an inspiring story. So the importance of branding in any business is it cannot be swept under the carpet.
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir.
I mean,
So,
just to expatiate by a minute, even if you're a startup and you are working from the comfort of your home, just like maybe a room or just a desk, don't give that impression when you go out. I used to have a friend, he's a one-man company, but when he comes to you and then he has done a job and then you ask him for the invoice, he'll tell you he'll tell you my finance guys will bring it. And he's still the same guy who will come back and submit. But he won't tell you like, I'll bring it tomorrow. He'll tell you, don't worry, my finance guys will bring it. If you say, yeah, you have an issue this day, he will tell you, don't worry, my customer service guys will attend to you. He's still the guy leading the customer service guy. Today is a big boy. He has about 20 people working for him. But then he started all alone. So that's the effect of branding. You need to talk big. I'm not saying you should lie. You need to talk big. You need to talk to demonstrate that you know what you are doing. And when money is no longer an issue, when the demand is coming, you sure know how you are going to segregate or divide your company to do what is right.
Okay, sir. So bottom line, don't look like what you are going through.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so it's actually no news that most corporates they have a payment term of 30 to 60 days. They don't pay instantly upon job completion. Could you give us a reason why corporates do that?
Of course. First of all, there's no corporate that is most of the corporates, in the sense that we say corporates, they are not NGOs, so they're here to make money. You understand cash, and then you understand what it means if you can trade with other people's cash. So just to say, at times it's okay. I can think of 4 reasons, major reasons why companies or corporates will choose to pay for a while after you've rendered the services. Of course, the first is the internal processes and procedures. At times, especially with a big company, they have complex approval processes, multiple layers of approval, multiple layers of people coming to certify the job was done, So, I mean, that takes some time. So it's not as if it's a one-man company. You come, you present what you've done, it takes it, and then it gives you the money. Some approvals, some verifications need to be done, some approvals need to be done. They'll tell you to get a job completion form, evidence of job done, things like that. That's number one. Some people do centralized payments. I mean, they have different branches, different areas, but to control, for control purposes, they do centralized payments. So they tell you, we pay just twice in a month, or we pay every 2 weeks. So no matter what happens, they are going to batch payment. They are going to wait, and then they will pay when just twice in a month. So if you don't flow into this, you flow into the next one. So this is still under internal processes and procedures, And then for some people, they pay manually, and maybe they don't have the softwares, the IDEs. So if you are going to pay manually, at times they need to confirm so many things. It's time consuming, and they're not paying just you, they're paying a lot of people. So this can take time. That's about internal processes and procedures. But I tell you, the major reason why companies pay after a while is because of their financial management and cash flow. They are big companies, they don't want to be stranded, so they have a cash flow management or cash flow procedures. They have the way they regulate so that at any point in time, they are not stranded cash, So at times they delay payment from supplier to suppliers to ensure that they have that liquidity. Also, some companies, they run their budgeting and forecast, and then they have a process of budgeting and forecast, which means before you spend, there's a process you go through to obtain approval for the money you want to spend, and that takes time. At times, the top approvers are not even sitting in your local market. So it needs to go for approval. They'll debate it, have meetings, and then it comes back. This is still under financial management and cash flow. So I said cash flow management, and then I said budgeting, and then forecasting. And then, at times is prioritization of payments. At times, company will prioritize payment based on the materials or the services, and they'll say ABC. If you heard ABC, so they say A is very critical. These materials or this type of services, if we have any issue with it, our company shuts down. So at the expense of B and C, if there are invoices or payment due on A, they will pay. So take for instance, in a company that says I'm throwing numbers, I want to spend 1 million every week. And then they forecasted, of course, 1 million is able to pay what they need to pay every week. But there are times where they make bulk payment for the A group processes, and that's over 1 million. So they would find a way to pay this at the expenses of the less important payments that needs to be done. And that's the way finance guys manage the company, of course. They don't have any apology for you. So the third part, so we've talked about financial management and cash flow. We've talked about the internal processes, but the third part is also dispute and verification. At times, people also want to game the system. They feel the company is big enough. We want to supply 500 items of A. Even if we supply 300, they won't know, And in some cases, they find out because of the process they've put in also that you didn't supply up to. And so there's dispute, there's verification, and then it takes time. Before we now agree on a number, it's over a month, and then we'll pay. But like I said, the major issue is, or the major reason is, financial management and cash flow. So you see the big multinationals telling you they pay X plus 1 month, X plus 2 months, X plus 3 months, just to manage their finances and liquidity. Thank you.
Okay, so that means these corporates, they understand the importance of managing their finance effectively.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yes.
I think this is also a measure SMEs and corporates, and also vendors and suppliers should also note in their business. They should be able to also manage their finance. Yeah, so because financing is the major bedrock when it comes to the success of a business. So
to be honest, Victoria, sorry to cut in. The multinationals know they do this, but then it's a give and take thing. They also know that the pricing they are giving you, it's very good. They know that, okay, ideally, if you will sell this in the market, maybe it's just, again, I throw numbers, 5 naira, but they're asking you to provide it for them for 6 naira, but they know they're not going to pay you a month or 2 months in this case. So it's a give and take. In this case, they are more concerned about making sure that their liquidity is not broken. And, as a trade-off for you, you are going to make more money. As a smart supplier, if you need this money, what you need to do is take the invoice of proof that you've delivered, and then head to a discount house or a discount financial house, of course. And this is what Vendercredit does, and they do it so well. I mean, I don't know about others, but I've heard, and I know that they do 24 hours. I mean, you bring in your evidence of work done, and in 24 hours you get your cash. And as an SME, you collect your cash and you move on to other things. And then when the payment is made, it goes to your finance house. And of course, you already made your money, because these big companies, they already trade off more money for you, for the time they are going to take to pay you. So this is given for any smart SMEs.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for that. Yeah, for an SME or for a vendor, liquidity is very much important. And one of the products we offer is, just as you rightly said, is invoice discounting. Once you're done with a job, you come in, you give us your invoice, and we proceed to discounting the invoice so that you can continue with your business with the funds, so with discounts. So you
Yeah.
don't your business does not stop because a corporate is owing you.
Yes.
So that's very much important. Thank you very much, sir, for shedding more light on that aspect. I know we could go on and on this topic, but because of the want of time, I would jump quickly to the questions our attendees have earlier asked, and part of the things they actually want to that is bothering their business and they need answers to. And one of this although you've actually done justice to most of the questions here, but one of these questions is they're asking an attendee is asking on tips on getting more corporate clients. How does he or she, as a business person, get more corporate clients?
I'm assuming that this attendee is an SME looking for more corporate clients, evidently because the corporate clients actually offer more stability. Like I said earlier on, a couple of things you need to do. You need to have online presence. The good thing is that you can have good online presence with little or no money. It doesn't cost so much. So, I mean, you need to, if you don't need a specialized website, you can be on Twitter, you can be on Facebook. You need to have an online presence. That's number one. Because when the procurement people in corporates, when they want to look for vendors for a certain job, this is where they start. Of course, they have one or two companies in mind, but I mean, they're going to be inviting a lot of people. So this is where they go to search. So imagine where for any search relating to your product, you are top 5 or top 10, then you have a fair amount of probability that anytime people are searching for products related to what you do, you will pop up. And of course, some people call this the first moment of truth. Then they call you, you have a discussion. What about your second moment of truth? Your quality, the quality of the product you offer, be it product, be it services, your quality must be good and must be distinctively unique. This is what keeps you with the corporate guys. They don't look so much. Money is a factor, but this is about one of the last one things they look at. They first of all look at your quality. Are you going to give us the right thing? And then they are also looking. He will scale you. He will give you more jobs to do. Do you have the capability? You might be doing very well when they ask you to produce 10 pieces, 20 pieces. What if they say produce 200 pieces? Do you have the workshop that can turn it out at the right time? Do you have the coverage in terms of money and cash to back it up? If you don't, when you are submitting your bids, you can also go with letters from discount houses and from other financial houses to say, look, these are my partners. No matter what you guys bring, when it comes to money to finance it, I have it. And of course, you build it into your numbers when you submit your proposal. So it's a win-win for them. So they look, first of all, they get to find you through your presence. Are people talking about you? Have you done a good job? Are you online? And then after that, they have discussions with you. They find out that you are well versed, you are better than them in terms of the product, you have better knowledge, you give them some advices on what they want to do, you chip in to show them, they say, this guy is good. And then they look at the quality of your product. When we ask you to do it, is it going to be okay? And then after that, what if we continue to scale? Will this guy disappoint us? Can he consistently give us every month for the next 2 years, 3 years? If the answer is okay, then they come to discuss price. But price is never a deal breaker, honestly.
Okay, sir. So from all you said, most importantly, position yourself, brand yourself properly, and go along with vendor credits. Don't leave vendor credit behind because it's very important. Vendor credit is
Yes,
the powerhouse, the manpower that drives your business as your financier.
I agree
Thank
with
you.
you.
Thank you very much, sir, for that. So over to the next question. I know you've actually said something about that. You actually done justice to that, but there's a question here, say asking about strategies for a competitive bid. So when a bid is competitive, what are the strategies a supplier or vendor can employ to ensure they win the bid?
Okay, so a competitive bid is not necessarily the cheapest bid. You need to first of all understand that when we're looking at a competitive bid, we're looking at so many other factors to give. So we're looking at what is the best value. That's what makes a competitive bid. What is the best value? And so, first of all, we look at your reputation in the company, in the industry. Are you very good? Will you provide us with the best? So, assuming now we're doing a promo or we're launching a new product. Let's assume I'm launching a new product. We also know that company B and C, who are my competitors, are launching the same product. You understand? And I want to make a package for that product. I would want to get the best package or the best package design possibly. So I'll look at the people who have given wow packages, the 5 or 6 of them, you understand, and ask them out, what can they do? Give me a plan. This is, even before I show you what I have, I want to pick your brain and see. You understand? So if you don't have that reputation in the industry, you're already losing out of the bid coming. Even if you give me the best pricing, you're already losing out because you don't have that competition. That's number one. So a competitive bid is more or less, it's something you get as you continue to work in the industry, as you continue to grow in the industry, as you continue to have good references from people you work with or from corporates you work with in the industry. And that's the way I see it. So because I might tell you that company here that's bidded for that's given in a bid of 1 million naira is more competitive than B, who gave a bid of 700,000. And I'll justify it. A will deliver on time. He has never failed. He always delivers on time, even if you give him a tight schedule. A comes with quality product. You will never complain about it. You understand? A is the best when it comes to this design in the whole of Africa. So if I'm not getting A to give me this design, there's a huge probability that I'm already losing in the market against my competition if they get A. So this is the strategic way I'll look at a competitive bid. But for being, in simple terms, as you start, I will say, talk to your clients, make sure you understand the requirements, make sure you are giving them at the minimum the requirements. If there are add-ons you can put, especially if the add-ons are free, more than welcome to add it. It makes your bid more competitive. These are the tips I can give.
Thank you very much for doing justice to that very question. And I'm sure whoever asked it is very much equipped to win any bid with any corporates. Thank you very much, sir, for that. So I have one very important question here. It says, how do I get LPO financing? And I think that very question is for me. So to get LPO financing, of course, is what we do at Vendercredit. We have quite a number of products we offer, ranges from LPO to invoice discounting, working capital financing, supply advance, and the likes. All you need to do is download our app on Play Store, Vendercredit, and you could also apply on our website through our website. Our website is www.vendercredit.ng. You could also apply, and once you sign up on the app and you apply, would proceed from there to assist you with that. That's for about that. Then I have another question here, which would most likely be our last question for the day because of time. So the question here says, how can I balance the use of credits for expansion while managing risk?
While managing risk, how can you balance the
use of credits for expansion?
Well, this is what I say, and this is what I'll first of all tell you what I was taught in business school. If you are getting credit, you need to first of all determine, is this a long-term credit or a short-term credit? If it's a long-term credit, and it, of course, the rates also will refer, you need to do your calculation and be sure that you can pay all through the long term at a worst case scenario. If it's a short-term credit, which is what I mean, vendor credit does for me, 2 months, 3 months, I've paid, then you need to just do your calculation and be sure that yes, even with this, you are still competitive and you still make your profit. Now, because it's a revolving credit, which means when you use it, you can keep it back, you can come back and use it. I mean, so you only pull it when you need it. So in this case, it's not like the traditional loans you get in the bank where you pick the money and they tell you it's for 4 years and it's with you and you're wondering, will business come for you to use this money and turn it over? Will the business not come? And each month the business is not coming, or maybe you do one big business for a month or 2 months, and then after that, because of season, the business is not coming, but you are paying interest. No. The way LPO works and the way you can access credit for expanding business should be on a need basis. You got the business, you want the money, you go to them, do the documentation. Usually for me, within 24 hours is out through vendor credit, and then I go do the job, and then I cycle it over when the need arises next time.
Okay, so at the end of the day, it's still very much always very much you're always at an advantage, because if you look at it properly, instead of tying funds for that long when you do a job, and you could also recycle the funds, put it back into the system, do more business and get more profits, as against tying down your funds and waiting for when the corporate pays you. So
Exactly.
another thing is for risk management, taking out credits. When you want to take out credits for a business, before you even go into a business, you should ensure you do your own due diligence, ensure that you've also check out the risks involved in the business, done your own market survey before you invest, even if it's your personal fund, into any form of business.
Yes.
Thank you very much, sir, for
Thank
your
you.
time. Thank you very much for being here today and for enlightening us and teaching us more. I think something you spent years to knowledge and experience you spent years to gather, you've actually given it out for free.
Thank
Thank
you
you very
so
much.
much.
I really appreciate that.
I'm more than happy to
Thank
come
you.
and share my experience here, and I hope that it has helped at least one person today. That's always the goal. You learn, and then you also give. Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, at this point, I would hand over to my colleague, Chidera, to proceed from here. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Kayode. It's very evident why you have been successful on both sides. I mean, everybody can attest to the fact that you really are an expert. You're an expert in the corporate side and you're also an expert in the vendor side. So we're really grateful for your time and for sharing a wealth of knowledge. And to Victoria as well, thank you so much for doing justice. You're an expert in your own rights. You have at least broken down some of our products and how our audience can take advantage. Mr. Kennedy, I think my favorite tip amongst everything that you've shared so much.
Thank
I think my favorite one is encouraging our vendors to have presence online and then
Yes.
building that reputation. I like the relatable example that you gave and how it pertains to branding and packaging. And I think I'm a bit biased because that's my own field. I like how you explained how they can be one-man mopole, a one-man mopole.
Yes.
They should do it with their full chest. But the bottom line is, as much as they can package, they also need to be able to walk the talk. Um, so there are many things that a vendor needs to worry about, right? To stay afloat, especially in this economic climes. But funding shouldn't be one of those things. And I think Mr. Kayode and Victor have, like I said, done justice to sharing some of the products that vendor credit offers in this period is so timely. Allow us to unlock that capital that is trapped in your supply chain. Victoria has mentioned LPO financing, our invoice discounting facility, contract financing. There's also working capital. The good thing is we just allow you to continue to keep your operations going by giving you access to that finance, just to keep that business running so you don't get cash strapped. So, like Victoria said, please download our app, go to the Google Play Store, or you can access our web app on our website. Or if you choose to, you can follow us on social media. Um, Jump in, send us DMs. We'll be happy to respond. Because of time, to everyone that has joined the session, thank you so much for your questions. Um, Mr. Kayode, thank you so much again. We know how busy you are. We're really grateful. Victoria, thank you for your time. We'll be uploading the recording on YouTube. And we'll be sharing the direct link to everyone that registered, for your reference, so you can rewatch and relearn. There's also the previous webinar that you can learn from if you are looking into playing in the e-commerce space. But again, thank you. We look forward to hosting you in our subsequent webinars where we'll continue to share how you can unlock capital and propel growth for your business. Until then, thank you, everyone, and cheers.